So let's start with Decadent Reflection. This is the first of the two looks that we're going to be learning today. This is a foil placement, and with this look you can create lots of different looks. So it can be used to create a soft, subtle highlight with little kisses of light reflection. You could also use the same foil pattern to create bold pops of color coming from the interior of a hair color look. So like I said, super versatile, and I look forward to showing it to you guys, and hopefully you're excited to try this on your clients afterwards. I do want to start by talking about our model. You can see she's a nice brunette. What I'm going to end up doing to her today is we'll use the Simply Blonde Beyond Bond in foils. That's going to be used with 20 volume, just to have a little control with her lift, so because we are adding a foundation in with this and having them process together. So then we are going to do a foundation of 5G. See, she doesn't have grays or anything, but she does want to be richer and deeper. And at the end, I'm hoping to glaze her with a Demi 7CG, just to give her some really nice, rich little pops of honey in her hair. So that's our goal for her today. Maybe that'll change later depending on how she lifts, and maybe we need to adjust our formulation as we go along, and that's something I love to talk to you guys about. But for now, that's our roadmap. So let's start with her sectioning. This is super easy sections. I actually really love this application because it's very easy to add to a lot of my normal clients. I've been able to just kind of throw this in every so often throughout my day. The first thing is all of the sectioning is going to be done with zigzag partings. So no straight partings or straight sections, just zigzags. They don't have to be perfect zigzags. They don't have to be 1 inch or 2 inch. They can be very random, whatever you decide to do, okay? So we're going to start at the center of her forehead and go to the center of her nape. That's going to be our first zigzag section. I do recommend brushing your client's hair before attempting to do a zigzag section. Otherwise, halfway down it gets a little bit crazy. So make sure her hair is nice and detangled before you start zigzag parting on a actual client. So once we get these two sections, I'm going to show you guys what this looks like so you have a nice visual. So straight down the back, all the way from the top of the center of her forehead to the center of her nape. Cool? Second two sections are going to be her sides. These will go from behind each ear, and then they're going to meet in the center just where her occipital bone is, okay? This is still going to be a zigzag parting, and I'll show you guys what these look like too. Like I said, don't overthink these zigzag partings. I've seen some people that really obsess over getting them absolutely perfect. Just do a zigzag parting. It's fun. Just relax. We'll be starting in the front with this application, and then we'll be finishing in the back. Get this out of the way, and then I'll show you guys what her next two sections are going to look like. Okay, so zigzags, zigzags from the ear to the occipital, ear to the occipital, center all the way down. So let's start with her foils. She looks a little wild right now, right? So we're going to start in the front. I like to start in the front right. If you don't like to start in the front right, start in the front left. Whatever you're comfortable with. That's not something that matters with this application, just as long as you're starting in the front. So depending on what side you're going to start with, you're still going to do the same sections. We're going to do diagonal backs going from her front hairline, and then we're going to go all the way back to where that point is. So right about her occipital is where it is at. So it's not quite straight back and not straight up. A nice diagonal back, just following itself. These are going to be about every 2 inches. If you want to put more, you can. You don't need to with this look. This gives you a lot of coverage, doing it about 2 inches apart. We're going to start from her temple, and then the end right at the top of her ear. So temple to ear, do a zigzag diagonal back. That's a lot of words, right? So once we've got our zigzag diagonal back, we are going to start with the foil. Now this is going to be another zigzag sectioning. So we're basically making a zigzag slice. See how it's zigzag on the bottom? zigzag on the top. Cool. This is where our foil is going to go. Now these foils are going to vary. I want to do the first one maybe an inch or two from the new growth. The second one might be 3 or 4 inches from the new growth. You really want to vary this to give her a very soft, natural look. And you also want to have it feathered at the top and not a dead stop with your lightener. So I like to start a little farther down than I eventually want to be. I like to saturate this thoroughly. Once I have her ends saturated, and mind you, when I say ends saturated, that's because she doesn't have any lightener on. If your client does have lightener on the ends, you might want to leave those out, maybe use a little conditioner to cover them, whatever you think. So once I have what I want saturated, and my brush is pretty clean at this point, then I take that dry brush and feather up a little bit, just to diffuse that line. So once we have this, I like to do a 3-fold. Whatever you guys want to do is fine. I do that since there's not lightener at the top. I don't want those lightened ends to be touching that not lightened top. Cool? So next one, we're still following that same pattern. These will start to get a little bit wide about halfway through. If you need to do 2 foils, go ahead and do 2 foils. So next one, zigzag. I'm going to clip this out of the way. See how it's getting a little bit wider? It's still not too wide for a foil yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and zigzag in there. You guys can see where my zigzag is on the top, zigzag is on the bottom, and this is where I'm going to foil. So this one might go a little farther down or a little farther up. I think I'm going to do this a little farther up. So I make my line. Once the hair is stuck to the foil, then I'm free to release and put my hand underneath here so I'm not crushing what's underneath. And I really just want to go through and fully saturate this hair. Once her ends are fully saturated, if my brush is clean, which it is, go ahead and feather up. And then we're going to fold this foil. Keep in mind we are doing a foundation, so if you put this foil all the way up to the scalp, you're going to have a heck of a time getting that foundation in there. So I like to have them drop a little bit so I can melt that foundation into that lightener while it's in the foil. So next, zigzag. And we're only going to do 3 or 4 in each of these sections. Here's getting a little bit wide, but I think we can still get it in one foil. And you can do very fine zigzag slices. Maybe you want to do thicker zigzag slices because you want super bold pops of color. Totally up to you guys. We're going to go a little lower with this one. There we go, we attach it to the foil and then we can lift up and put our hand underneath to help, almost like a board, so we're fully saturating underneath. It gives us just something to push against. Once those ends are fully saturated, make sure your brush is cleaned off. Blend up. I'm pulling this down just a little bit. Like I said, I know that foundation is going to come in there, so I don't want that to be too high. So far we have 3. I'll do 1 more in this section and then I'll show you guys the back. Turn her a little bit. And these are all coming forward, you see in that diagonal motion. We still haven't changed the direction that we're going in, even though we're working around the head. Same thing, there's our zigzag. I'm doing kind of a heavy zigzag, a little extra color in here. fully saturate that. And I turn my brush kind of straight when I really want to push that color into there, and then flat when I want to spread it out. Push and then flat. A little bit more, get her thoroughly saturated. And then we're going to feather this up. So there's our front section. I like to clip it out of the way. It just makes it easier for me to work. A lot of times, it's just going to depend on your client's length. I might take this and do a little braid. I don't know if you guys do this or not, just to keep hair out of the way. So now that we've got that entire front section done, I'm going to move her up a little bit so I'm not bending. And you can see her below section. I'm going to work on this side actually. So we're pretending like we finished the front on both sides. And now we're working on her bottom. With her bottom, we're making our first one from that center to just behind the ear. And it's going to be a small zigzag. Do you guys see that? And then we're going to do another zigzag. So zigzag on the top, zigzag on the bottom. And then we're going to do the same foil application we did in the front. We might put 2 or maybe 3 foils in this back. So far we would have 8 foils on the top and 4 on the bottom. Like, that's pretty okay, right? And what you want to do back here is kind of brick lay these. This is a section that I would ask my client if they want to see lightness when they wear their hair up. If they do, maybe come in here and go a little bit higher and a little bit closer to their hairline. If they don't, you don't have to go this high. You can go a little bit lower like we did on that top section. Whatever your client wants to do, super customizable, super easy. And then your last one in the back would be, there's your second staggered foil, zigzag, and then another zigzag. You want to make sure that your zigzags are not the same, or otherwise it's just going to all run into each other. But this is going to help it be super blended. So as I was saying, we are going to finish this up off camera. We'll finish her up in just a second, and then the goal is to do an all-over glaze of 7CG, giving her just that soft honey look. So do you guys think this is a look that maybe you could create in the salon? Do you guys want to try this on our model in a little bit? Awesome, I look forward to it. And I'll be back in just a minute with her end results. Great.